Nonprofit organization that is devoted to preventing gun violence. And on April 30th, there'll be a forum at 7:30 at the Presbyterian Church. Maggie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, very serious topic.
Yes.
So glad to have you here. So glad to see somebody so young and involved and making a difference.
You.
Maybe I'm just old, but anyway.
No, it's important. It's important for every generation.
It is, and that's what's so neat to see. It is in every generation that people standing up to lead and take a stance. So tell us about your nonprofit.
Yeah, absolutely. So Protect Minnesota is the only state-based, statewide gun violence prevention organization here in Minnesota. So we're working on ending and preventing gun violence in every way that it exists in our state. Everything from, gang violence, community gun violence that happens, in the Twin Cities, and firearm suicides that happen kind of all over our state, especially in greater Minnesota, accidental and unintentional shootings, mass shootings. So we really are taking aim, to use a phrase, at all of the ways that gun violence presents in our state.
Huge goal, but I love to see it when people take on a huge goal. We're not aiming to just reduce, we want this gone.
Yes.
So tell us about this forum you've got coming up.
Yeah, so we're really excited. So the folks over at First Presbyterian call it Forums on First, this series of forums that they have. And they're bringing in, myself from Protect Minnesota and a sheriff, an Olmsted County sheriff, to talk about what it's like to experience gun violence from the law enforcement side, some support staff from Rochester Public Schools to talk about what it's like to experiencing gun violence in schools right now. And we're going to have a conversation about not only the way gun violence exists right now, but what's our role as individuals, as a community, in preventing gun violence.
That is so great. I think there's nothing better than hearing where other people are coming from, to hear the people that are dealing with certain issues that maybe we haven't had to deal with, we haven't thought of, just helps us understand the other points of view.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What a great
and
idea.
There's, so many ways that this is experienced, no matter what part of life you are in, if you're a law enforcement officer, if you're a teacher, a student, if you're someone who's just going about your regular life, this is something that touches us all. So I'm excited for us to have a real community conversation about it.
And have a real, like you said, a real conversation. Do you have any data that you'd like to share with us about gun violence in Minnesota?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So Protect Minnesota is the only organization that analyzes and releases an annual gun death report every year. So our most recent numbers come from 2022. And what we know is that in 2022, 569 Minnesotans lost their lives to gun violence. And one thing that I really want to point out is that all of those deaths are preventable, right? A death from gun violence isn't like cancer or a heart attack. It's really something that comes from a split-second decision of someone pulling a trigger, and we can prevent that. A couple other notable things, 71% of those deaths in 2022 were firearm suicides. So we really have to include those types of death in the conversation when we're talking about gun violence as well. And we also know that that's the exact same number of deaths removed by only one from 2021. So we're really seeing this really high number of gun deaths that's not decreasing in our state. So we have a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. Well, you are starting it with doing this forum and the work that you do. I just really want to thank you as part of the community for the work that you're doing here and trying to make everybody's lives healthier and happier and gun violence free.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Absolutely. That's the goal, right? So thank you so much. We're really excited to have a chance to be part of the work here in Rochester.
Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. So how can we, do you have a website, Facebook page real quick before we go?
Yeah, absolutely. We have all of those things. So our website is www.protectmen.org, or we're on Facebook, Instagram, X, or Twitter. We're all over the place.
You're everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maggie. I appreciate it. And we have your full weather forecast coming up. And let's check on that question of the day one more time. Head to our Facebook page to give your answers. It is the #1 phrase that kids hate hearing from their parents. Do you have one, Maggie?
Oh gosh,